Well, WrestleMania 30 is come and gone, folks, and for the, how do I put this? For the 6th year in a row, I have recorded it. That's right. I now have in my possession WrestleMania 24, 25, in a sense, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. That's right, I now have WrestleMania 30. And what can I say about this year's WrestleMania? Well, first of all, before I say anything, you're probably wondering, how did I see WrestleMania if perhaps I was working? Because I did hint around that I was going to be working today, especially if you watch my DVD update. Well, my schedule was 10:30 to 7, like it's going to be on Tuesday. Tomorrow I don't have to worry too much. I have most of the day to rest, and then I just go at 6:30 to 11. But the point is, I didn't really get to watch WrestleMania live. I did come home in time to watch the main event. I did watch that. So, at least God let me come home in time to watch the main event of Mania. I'll give my perspective on that in a little bit. But mainly what it was is that I was working, and my lunchtime, ironically, occurred around the time that the pre-show for WrestleMania was beginning. Well, at least the pay-per-view pre-show, not the WWE Network one. Now, apparently, if you were watching WrestleMania 30, courtesy, if you were watching it on the WWE Network, and hopefully not without any hiccups, which I'm afraid could have happened, you also got to watch the pre-show. Now, for me, I didn't watch the pre-show. I didn't. In fact, I didn't even watch the post-show because I don't see no post-show on there. Well, considering it was probably a little late when they ended, but still. But the point is, I did not watch WrestleMania live, like I said, except for the ending, until I got home, like I said, before the ending. But what happened mainly, getting back to my point here, before I get a little off track, I was working today 10:30 to 7 like I'll be doing Tuesday. And what happened was my lunch ironically fell upon the time that the pre-show was starting on pay-per-view. The pay-per-view version, if you will. So, I decided, okay, today's the day I'm going to finally ride the bike that my sister has allowed me to borrow. And that's what I did. I finally rode the bike. And not only did I ride it, but I rode it to work, and I rode it back. Now, what did that do for me? Well, cut back on time walking, I will say that. It did cut back on time walking. So, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. It cut, like I said, cut back on time walking. And it takes me about 6 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, depending on the lights and everything, the street lights and everything, to come home, to go from my work to home and back. So I was able to get back here in time, enough time to allow my dog to go outside and sun a little bit, sunbathe a little bit, probably go use the restroom, check up on things, upload the videos that you've probably already seen on YouTube, or would have seen even in draft form, hopefully, on YouTube, which you have seen already, and then go from there. As well as set up my DVD recorder along with some recordable DVDs. Of course, these are still unopened, so these are yet to be used. But it allowed me to it allowed me basically to start the recording for WrestleMania. Now, unlike the previous years where I would just go 4 hours because mainly the show hits just about the 4-hour range, I went 6 hours. Yeah, I went 6 hours. Now, I know you're thinking, well, Brian, didn't you go 6 hours before? Technically, yeah, I did in the past. But that's only when events like Rumble and SummerSlam would happen. Not WrestleMania. So, yeah. I didn't do it for WrestleMania this year. I mean, I did do it for WrestleMania this year, but I didn't do it in previous years because I would just be recording the event right off the bat. And again, that's kind of what's funny to me about WWE, isn't it? It's almost like when it comes to the pay-per-views, you can do what you want, you can record it. But when it comes to the Raws and SmackDowns, you can't. It's kind of stupid, isn't it? But anyway, I basically started the recording around 2:30 and left the house around 2:50 or something like that and got back to my job in plenty of time to clock back in and really help out on the cashier front. So while I was working, WrestleMania was happening. Thankfully, because it was a 4-hour edition, I was able to get back in time to watch, like I say, the main event. Now, the other reason I planned it out this way, and I would have planned it out anyway like this, is my mom and sisters, well, not my mom, but my mom had gone with my older sister and her husband and some family friends, if you will, to the A's game in Oakland when they faced Seattle and won. The reason being is because it was a Little League day. And the Little Leaguers, along with family and friends, got to march around the field. So if I had been able to get the day off from my job, I would have marched around the field. And the way things were going, I probably would have been back in time to record the encore presentation of WrestleMania. Go figure. But things work out the way they do, and I'll still probably go to an A's game in the future. Maybe even a Giants game, who knows. But point is, whether that would have happened or not, I still would have came back in time to record, I still would have came back for lunch and recorded the pay-per-view like I did today. I would have started the recording. Or like I did anyway. Now, getting to WrestleMania, what are my thoughts on it? Well, I know people are going to be critical about it. And there's several reasons why they should be. I remember, because I could definitely, well, I don't remember, but I could definitely tell you there are certain moments at WrestleMania 30 that would piss a lot of fans off. It would. Now, first of all, we start out with a great video package on the 30-year history, which is great. And then, of course, just like WrestleMania 27, we start out with the host of WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan. Now, you would think perhaps they'll just maybe let him go 5-10 minutes and end it, right? Wrong. It went a full, from what I saw, 20-minute long. About 20 minutes long. And here's the reason. Unlike The Rock, doing the beginning of WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 27, which his promo caused some things to be cut, some matches to be cut down, or some matches just to be plain cut from the event. Here, you had a more fitting and more apropos, if you will, reason for the length. A more apropos reason for the length of time that the Hogan segment was given. Because it didn't just involve Hulk Hogan. No. It involved Stone Cold Steve Austin. It involved The Rock. Oh God, to quote the Schleg Daddy. And I think JBL said it best. The Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, right in the ring, live. And it was a great moment. It was a great moment that I think nobody ever thought they would see at a WrestleMania. I mean, they had seen matches. I mean, they even referenced it. They referenced the matches of Austin and Rock at 15 and 17. They didn't reference 19, but that's a different story. They referenced 18, which was cool. And the moment was great. They played off each other very well. They got the crowd really into it, really excited. I mean, that crowd freaking popped for Hogan. They really blew the roof off for Austin. And they nearly blew it off again for The Rock. Okay, they nearly blew it off for basically all three of the guys. But still, the point is, it was a great moment. It was a great, great moment between the two. I mean, between the three. It was really great. So, to me, I think that was one of the best moments and more apropos kickoff host segments for any pay-per-view, especially WrestleMania, that they could have done. It was done well. They played off each other. It was great. And believe me, think about it this way. You're in New Orleans, and I know a lot of you watching this video were there. I know a lot of you were there. You're in New Orleans, or you're watching the network, or you're watching it on the network, or you're watching it on pay-per-view, and you think, okay, I hear Rock, and you're reading all these numerous sources like, okay, Austin and Rock are going to be there, and they're going to be involved in something. And all of a sudden, what they're involved in is the beginning, and what a moment. I gotta use this camera I'm using right now when I watch the replay again on the big screen to give you that moment. That was unbelievable, in my opinion. Just an unbelievable way to kick off in a more apropos way of doing it. Then, after that, we get, and all three do have beers, have a Steve Weiser, and all three's music hits at the end, so that's pretty cool. Then we get into the matches themselves. In the first match, Daniel Bryan, Triple H, that was good. It was a good opener. The storytelling was just terrific, in my opinion. It really made you think, if you're a Daniel Bryan fan, that perhaps they were going to go with Triple H. But just great in-ring storytelling psychology here. And in the end, the WWE did the right thing, and they had Daniel Bryan go over. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, if this was one of the top matches, why did it kick off the show? Well, it's real simple. They even said, the announcers even said it. If you're storyline-wise, if you're potentially going to be challenging for a championship, in the case of Triple H, wouldn't you want to have enough time to rest up so you'll be almost nearly fresh again for later on that night? Wouldn't you want to be that way? Of course you would. Of course you would. So, to me, I definitely think it was a great opener, decent opener, and I fully look forward to watching it again in the near future. I thought, again, it told some great storyline psychology, storytelling psychology, great inward work psychology. And like I said, they did the right thing in allowing Daniel Bryan to go over. And then, of course, there was the attack at the end. Of course, the slapping in the face several times by Stephanie, which allowed Triple H to attack Daniel in the end and hit his injured arm with a chair. And again, that's part of that great storytelling psychology there, because it again made you wonder if WWE was going to pull the trigger on Daniel, or if they were going to say, screw you, we're going to do what we want. So, again, great in-ring psychology, great storytelling psychology there. I thought it was a good opener. in my opinion. Probably a great opener, but I thought it was good. Then the second match was the six-man tag, which turned out to be, believe it or not, one of those rare times at a WrestleMania where they just want to give you a squash match. That's right. You know, with them getting behind the Shield again, and the Shield getting white hot again, if you will, and because now that the baby faces, it does not surprise. Well, it kind of surprises me, but it does not surprise me how short this match ran, and how much, pretty much, as they said in some of the reviews, in some of the live results on several sites, how it pretty much was more of a squash than anything. And WWE did exactly what I was hoping for, and I think I said this in my previews, in my preview show, my two-part preview, WrestleMania 30 preview. I said what they need to do is showcase Roman Reigns. They need to showcase him. Now, they didn't do all the finishers, but they needed to showcase Roman Reigns at least spearing and dominating all three of the opponents, and he did. He speared Kane, and he did double spear on the Outlaws. And then they did something that I think is a first for them. A double power bomb on the Outlaws. A double triple team power bomb on the Outlaws, which even the fans got to the feet for. So that was pretty cool. Shield going over, surprisingly, in a squash, as a lot of people called it. Then we got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Everybody had already gotten to the ring, and then of course you had two entrances left. The entrances of Big Show and Sheamus. Now, before we get to that, we had a little backstage promo with several legends. We had Danny Davis, who was there, going back to his referee deal, Dangerous Danny Davis, Hacksaw, and Sergeant Slaughter playing with the new Slam City figures. Then we had Ricky come in, and he got a decent pop being on screen. So that was pretty cool to see Ricky again. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But then, as they're playing, all of a sudden somebody comes in and takes it and says this now belongs to somebody else. And if you did not pay attention to who that person was, let me say this. How can you call yourself an ECW fan if you didn't know who that was? That was Cyrus, the Jackal. Yeah. That was Cyrus, the Jackal. Don Callis from TNA. That was him. Yeah, his head was shaven and all that, but you could tell because, look, he had the headset. Remind you of anything? Exactly. And then, of course, you had the $1 Million Man come in with his little saying that, hey, in or out of the ring, WrestleMania or not, you got to Slam City or not, you got to know everybody's got a price. So, anyway, getting back to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I thought, and I agree with the announcers, I thought it was a fun Battle Royal. It was really fun. And there was some surprise participants in there. Very surprising. There was Justin Gabriel. There was Tyson Kidd. Brodus Clay was in there. So just a few in there, pretty much, because they said they had 4 spots left, right? So you had Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel, Brodus Clay, and who else? Again, I gotta go back and look at it, but you had some entrants in there you didn't expect. And a lot of these guys, like Gabriel and Kidd and even Brodus, and I think even Xavier Woods may have been the 4th one, but have been not seen on TV that much and have been regulated to a sense back to NXT to kind of improve or kind of rehab, if you will. But it was great to see them. It was. And it was great that they were getting a WrestleMania payoff. So anyway, fun Battle Royal. A lot of good, a lot of impressive in-ring action there. You had your moments. We had another Kofi Kingston moment. Basically, what happens is, I think it's Cesaro. Cesaro basically lifts it. Kofi's coming at him like this, and Cesaro just lifts him over his shoulder, and it looks like Kofi's going to fall back and land, be eliminated. But as he's falling back, his feet touch the bottom steel steps. And people pop for that. It was unbelievable. And of course, and you had some, like I said, you had some good moments. in there and everything. You had some good back and forth action. To me, very fun battle royal. And you had the Cesaro swing on Kofi. You had Fandango eliminating Big E and getting the whole Superdome Fandangoing until Sheamus, which fans booed for just a moment, and then Pop for did 30 of his booms on Fandango, to the point that Fandango, he's like this, and all of a sudden you're getting towards the end, his hands are just like that, and after Sheamus is done, Sheamus is like, boink. That was pretty cool. But again, it was, like I said, it was great to see a lot of these young talents getting a pay-per-view payoff at WrestleMania, especially in this Battle Royal. And of course it came down to Cesaro and Big Show. Now Cesaro, of course, had his Cesaro swing on Kofi, which was in a moment in itself. And then, like I said, it came down to Big Show and Cesaro. Sheamus and Alberto had already eliminated each other. But like I said, it came down to those two. And decent finale. And I think it was the right two that they ended it with. And I think, surprisingly, even though I think we all thought Big Show was going to get it, I was thoroughly surprised but thoroughly happy that they booked Cesaro to do it. Because they've been pushing and getting behind Antonio for quite some time. Why not finally do something to prove, hey, this guy's arrived. This guy's legit. We're going to get behind this guy and give him a push. We're going to give him the ball and let him boom, 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 run with it. And that's what they did. And what a way for them to do it. Not only does he hit the Swiss uppercut on Big Show, but he lifts the guy up like this and tosses him out. And then in the end, he shakes Big Show's hand. Big Show offers him his hand in respect. Cesaro shakes it, so thus you're going to get a Cesaro babyface turn, hopefully now. Let's hope. Especially with what's going on with him and Swagger in the Real American Tag Team, but let's hope we get a Cesaro babyface turn. And to me, this is the best way to do it. Yeah, you're going to probably start him off feuding with Swagger, but you got to start him off with something or somebody before you move him up the ladder. And I think, I truly believe, folks, that he's going to end up in a feud with Triple H. He's going to be someone that's going to feud with the Authority. I've got that feeling. I don't know why. But anyway, very smart move. I'm surprised they went with Cesaro, but I think I'm very happy that they did, because it definitely says, hey, we're pushing this guy to the moon. Then we get John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Yeah. How many matches has that been so far? Triple H, Daniel Bryan, 6-man, Andre, and now John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Yeah. And decent match. And again, just like with Triple H and Daniel Bryan, decent storytelling, psychology put into this match. Really decent. I like how they had John Cena trying to fight that monstrous, aggressive side that he was once known for, because he used to be very ruthless as a tweener, heel, whatever you want to call him. I like how they had him fight against that. Very, very, again, great storytelling psychology here. Very good. And the match wasn't bad either. Great in-ring work between both men, whether you like Cena or not. Just a decent overall match, which the main focus of it was the storytelling psychology that was involved. And it had some moments. I mean, you have John Cena getting ready to go for his first 5-knuckle shuffle, and he's about to go for it. You have Bray Wyatt sticking up like this, like he's like he's possessed, like something out of The Exorcist. And I like John Cena's reaction. He's just totally freaked. But again, things like that will really, to me, really made this match a good match. Whether you like the in-ring action or you just like the storytelling psychology involved. It was really good. Now, I know a lot of people will crap on the ending because John Cena went over, but remember what I and probably some others have said. John Cena his legacy, if you will, who is his main fan base, his main legacy, his main audience for his legacy? Women and children, right? I mean, who did he hug at the end of his match after he won? The first person he hugged was a kid in Cena gear. So there you go. So anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Thought it was good. I really did. I really did. Then, oh boy, we get to the one match that pretty much a lot of people kind of said crapped on the built for, but felt it was a match that they've been wanting to see for a while, and that's Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. And oh boy, this was not one of, I will say this was not one of Undertaker's more pretty matches. I mean, I think they said it best in the announcer. I think the commentating team said it best. It was going to be a car crash, and it was. It was going to be ugly, and it was. I mean, Taker didn't even do his fly out of the ring deal. He tried old school. He hit it. I don't even think he hit it. Every time he would try, Brock would counter it. It was, yeah. It was not a pretty match. I will say this about Undertaker's entrance, though. I like how they had a coffin for all 21 previous opponents. Even a CM Punk coffin. And that was crazy, too, about this whole thing. They show pictures and video of CM Punk. And a lot of this, what the hell? You know, if he's gone, cut it, right? But apparently they still want him back, and it looks like Vince is not going to give up until that happens. But point is, you know, this was the entrance was pretty cool, and I like how they ended it with and I like how the last casket said 22 on it and has Brock's name, and as Undertaker's coming out and he's looking at the casket, it opens up. So that was cool, but overall it was not one of the best matches Taker's had. Now I know some people might argue and say, oh, it was okay. Yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't pretty. I mean, pretty much Brock Lesnar dominated the thing. Yeah, you had Undertaker throwing some offenses and everything. It was decent, but it was not one of the prettiest, if not one of the best Undertaker WrestleMania matches there was. And then we get to the ending. Oh boy. This is an ending that already has caused a lot of controversy. Because people don't know what the heck happened. They don't know if WWE decided, let's do it. It's the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania. Let's do the unthinkable. They don't know if they made that call. They don't know if Vince made the call. But apparently this is a decision that is mired in controversy right now. Because even you have people talking about, you have like people like Dave Meltzer coming out and saying, oh, by the way, there was a 22-0 graphic that showed up, and then they quickly switched it to 21-1. Yeah, because guess what? Brock Lesnar beat the damn streak. He broke it. He broke the streak after a third F5. And according to several sources, it sounded like him and maybe Taker called the audible during the match. They pretty much changed the ending of the match during the match so that Brock would go over.